She had one in her hand. Yeah, don't you have another one for this chick? Don't you have one right there in your hand? You can go ahead and give it to her.
That's what was in
It's a little bit of culture.
Said something to me and I said,
She's gonna be one of these two.
that's what I'm doing. Winging it. Yep.
And I'll get Gary, as soon as you can figure it out, let me know, and I'll get Gary tomorrow.
Exactly.
3:30.
Thank you.
Yep. And nobody comes in and does stuff, there you go.
It's 3:30.
Maybe in other places they do, but nobody in our office does that.
You gonna get me up?
Yeah,
You might have somebody in your office that does that, so.
Yeah. I can get over this.
Do it. Oh, no, he said. Sweet. Is he here when we get back?
So I want to see how they define it.
when the weather changes and gets a little warmer, you want to bring your kids to the park and they'll do that.
Yeah, this summer, we'll do it. That'd be great.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
What do you
Really
got?
appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Where was Jackie just retired?
Yeah, just like grandbaby.
That's how they do it.
She was enjoying it.
I don't know.
She looked at me like 90. And I'm like, I'm not sure. We'll see.
Okay, good.
That's the one.
Yep. That's the six. Cattleman's number 6.
What is it?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's about.
You know?
I don't know.
Well, they go, they just give you a
I
thing.
bet you do.
You go like this, everybody wears insurance all the time.
I don't think I need to remember what I'm gonna do. I said, not that I need to remember what I'm gonna do.
But even if you do that, they can still.
Oh.
I didn't do enough of it, but I don't know.
We've chatted on.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
I give them chatting on.
yeah.
Good idea.
Still moving
Friday
this
night.
one.
We was talking about this right here. Right, see it.
Oh, yeah.
I said, I'm just gonna give a chat.
Come on. All right, we'll call the January 13th Pike County Commission Work Session to order. We have one guest tonight. He is first Chief Coggins with the Meeksville Volunteer Fire Department and also the president of the Volunteer Fire Association is going to come speak to us. We should have a couple of handouts. Some of them didn't make the package. Up there.
Just straight back to work.
Okay.
Get that.
Good evening, everyone. So,
Good
as you
evening.
said, I'm Andrew Coggins, president of the Pike County Fire Association, also chief of Mixville Fire Department. So, been looking at doing, trying to replace our radio system in the county, just like everyone else has done in the county. We're the last ones to do that. However, we do not have the funds to do that. As all you know, we all struggle financially as volunteer fire departments in this county with what money we have off of tobacco tax. So what I'm coming tonight to do is propose a plan here to get us started on radios for all the volunteer association departments. This will not by any means take care of 100%. This will give us a good start. What we decided to go with was outfit our tankers and our engines at first, and then 3 handhelds per department. So that would get us, we feel, a good start and be able to communicate most of the officers, the higher ups in each department, and then our main trucks that we use. So we got it broke down here, how many each department has. As you can see, some of those numbers are different, but that's just the way that works out. We want to try to be fair, but it's just what it is. We want to be good stewards of the money that we have and we ask for. So I'm just trying to buy exactly what we need at this time. So with those numbers, we're looking at $48,000. Out of that, the association, we have $18,000 that we're able to put towards the radios, and what we're asking the commission for is $30,000 at this time.
So, y'all make Andrew, if you don't mind sharing, we've been in these meetings the last few months, been helping them do this, and two things I want to make y'all aware of on this proposal. 2 months ago, we talked about being judicious with this, about making, that I understood that they needed help, that we're in there listening to the problems they've got from the 911 dispatchers and not being able to communicate with the sheriff's department, the police department, Haynes, et cetera. But that we needed them to prepare something that was bare bones, like, this is just exactly what we gotta have to just try to function. Well, you'll notice on here, Banks is 0. They had included Banks, but they got a grant that's gonna outfit them.
So since that first talk, they received a grant.
And the last meeting, Banks just said, look, we'll step back and what we would get if we'd have done this even, we'll give to the department. So they've looked at their call volume, they've looked at the amount of trucks they run, and this is something, I witnessed this, at their last meeting, their association voted on this proposal. So they were all in agreement that he bring this to us. But like, Seiko doesn't have 3 trucks. So 2 radios will 100% get their brush truck and tanker, their engine and brush truck, where they can communicate when they're in the truck. But Meadsville's got a larger department with more trucks, so they were willing to move one of them, instead of just doing 3, you know what I'm saying? They'd actually sat down and looked at who's doing responding, who's got the more intensely inhabited response area, and so that's why some of that's that way. It's not that Banks is not being left out, but they're gonna fix their need through a grant.
And on that, if you notice out there to the right side, it does have 2250 listed beside Banks. What that is the 18,000 that we have in our account for the association. We have agreed to give them, that money belongs to all the departments in the county. So we have agreed if we were to split that with 8 departments, they would get right around 2250. So we will give them that out of
And
the
they're gonna fix
association.
their
money.
truck that they've been
Right.
needing to try to get
So
fixed.
that would not come out of commission.
All right.
So what when the fire rescue dissolved several years ago, their association became the heirs of that, and they divvied up the equipment. They, I'm gonna speak, y'all sold the properties on it, and they took the proceeds of that and put it in their association together, and they're wanting to make a down payment on the radios as a group. But since Banks is getting their radios at this grant, they're gonna, which truck are they fixing? Are they gonna?
A ladder truck, I believe, they recently acquired, need some work on.
So they're gonna get that truck up and running to their point.
So this will open up the communication for the entire county?
Yes. And Banks will have radios, like you said, they got a grant. They'll actually have more radios than the rest of us.
What's Mr. Herb Reed working on?
He's trying to-
He's working on grant.
So,
And this won't 100%, this is not 100%.
This is probably not even quite 50%, counting all our apparatus and volunteers.
If Herb came through with what he was doing, we figured it might get him to 60%. People, vehicles with the radio. Right now, with the new system we're using, a lot of the transmit, you explained that what y'all have, when they page them out, they're not even able to understand what's coming
It's a
through because of the antiquity of their devices compared to the digital.
It's a bad echoing, and from what we understand, it's because with our old UHF system, there's multiple towers around the county. And there is with the new system, but when the old system, depending on where you're at, you have to turn your radio to that, and so they page out on each different tower on the old system, depending on where that department's located in the county. With this new system, it's like a cell phone, it automatically chooses the nearest tower, so when it's doing that, when it's sending it on UHF to just one particular tower, then it's trying to repeat it on all the other ones, and it's making a bad echo. And it's partly because they have it tied in together what they do, but it's to do with the old UHF system. And luckily, we do have another means of getting those page out alerts through Active Alert, I think which all y'all are familiar with. So that's really the only way we can know what's going on. And that's only happening when we have multiple agencies being paged at one time. For instance, on all our structure fires, Troy Fire runs with us, and then the nearest 3 volunteer departments to that call. So during that, there's 4 departments being paged at one time. You can't hear or understand any of it until the actual page out's over, and then once you get to talking, you can. But this is supposed to fix a lot of that, and not to mention with these old radios, they're just very antiquated and old, and needs a lot of work, and we don't really have the coverage that the other system has. There's a lot of dead spots in the old system. We have to use a cell phone to call dispatch a lot of times to try to, know we're on scene or what we need or whatever.
any other questions about the proposal?
Yes, I have a question for you. This $2,250 from Banks, that's just their portion of the 18,000, is that correct?
That does not affect the
Okay.
court commission.
Okay.
Yes. I just put that on there just to show it as, so you see what everybody will be having.
Okay, that's the portion, all right.
And they did agree to that. They approved and bought off on that as well, so.
Any other questions on this proposal? So, I will say this too, so we discussed this, I talked to Jordan. This should be item number 12 on your agenda. We discussed it last meeting, and, it just didn't make the agenda due to, we all know the Kings is out on a family emergency, so this piece was missing, so it is current business, and it should be on the agenda as current business.
One other thing I'd like to add to that, along with those, and it's not listed here on there, because I was working up till today trying to get more quotes on user fees. With the new radio system, there is user fees. It's like a cell phone, and that's because this S&P Communications owns the towers. So any damage happens to that tower struck by lightning, they have to fix it, where the old UHF system, we own those towers, we have to fix it if it got tore up. So there's an $8 user fee, I believe the sheriff's department pays that, the police department, fire departments here in Troy. There again, we don't really have the funds, and we would like to ask if we could somehow be either added on with the sheriff's department user fees, or if y'all could just help the fire association with the user fees if we go ahead with this radio proposal.
And I'm not so sure that came up, I forgot we beat on that at that last meeting. We need to get up with how and I told Andrew, I didn't know, I felt like that was just in the sheriff's budget, that wasn't necessarily a line item where we were paying the user fee, you know what I'm saying?
Is that $8 per unit?
Per radio, yes. So
Oh,
whether it be a handheld or truck radio, it's $8. What I was trying to get clarification on from Jay with, S&P Communications is if that would cover, or if they offered a plan that was, you know, you did 60 radios, 100
Like
radios.
if we lump them under the sheriff's
Right.
department.
Would it save us
How
money?
would we do it to try to save?
So far, what I've got from him, I don't think it will. I haven't been able to talk to him at length. It was a quick conversation, but I do not think it will lump and make it any cheaper.
So let's ask, I'm gonna ask this, I guess, just more directly. If we said, hey, we can have it for one-time money, but recurring money is something we can't do, is that a deal killer for you guys doing?
No, I mean, we've talked about that, and as an association, we have a backup plan to try to, see that through. So we let $600 a month out of our tobacco tax go into the association's fund that comes from all 8 departments.
Mhm.
So I think with that, if we had 60 radios, $8 a piece, we would be looking at approximately $500 a month, user fees. And that would be including banks in the user fees with their radios they're gonna buy. So we could just pay it all together. So we could possibly cover that. It would put us in a little more of a financial strain, or the association. We do have a few other items we have to keep up, but I think we could manage. But if you couldn't pay it all, we would of course see if you could maybe meet us halfway. Something to think about down the road, but the radios are definitely, getting those then we would know what we need to do.
And so here is, and some of this, I mean, we've been talking about the radios and the purchase of those, so I think most of us have had thoughts about that. It's sometimes easier, because our budget's tight too. And I know it's a different type of tight. But sometimes one-time charges, one-time donations, one-time, allocations are easier than we're gonna be able to do this on a monthly basis.
I understand that.
And I know, so I was glad to hear that one of the things y'all did when you broke this down for handsets is you kind of looked at run logs and everything else. Now, some of the departments have got a roster that's robust and they make a lot of calls. And y'all kind of looked at that when you bought radios. Some departments also are probably gonna have a better opportunity to make some of those payments. And maybe get some of the stuff for themselves. Have y'all looked at that as well?
Yes, some of the departments have, or one or two of the departments I know have already purchased 1 or 2 radios, the money they had available. But I think that's the max, was 1 or 2, other than Fort Banks's. Yeah, that's something we would like to do, all individually as departments is buy a radio here and there as we can.
Well, and just the user fees as well.
Right.
And I mean,
Are you talking about splitting user fees up per department instead of?
yeah,
And that may be the best route to go with it.
So, and Jordan, keep me honest here for what you know. Our the tobacco tax basically says we can collect this to go into contract with a entity. Really, we contract with the association. We divvy up and write checks and through our agreement to all the fire departments plus the association. If the association got together and came to us and said, we'd rather look at the way that's going and base the tobacco tax on runs, on active memberships, on financial need by department, I mean, we would be willing to look at some of that too, right? I mean,
That has been mentioned, kind of some small conversations, never, got really serious with it, but that is a true thing. I mean, it's, you know, for instance, Mixville covers 132 square miles. We have a few more trucks, a few more people to cover that mileage than what, say, Seco may have, you know, with 5 members, 3 trucks, and covering, I don't know exactly what their coverage area is, 50, 60 maybe square miles, I'm not even exactly sure, I know it's a lot less. So there is a difference in what each department requires and needs financially, to make the call volumes, and, you know, the fuel costs, of course, will be more if you're running more, so that sort of thing. So that may be something we do need to look at down the road as well.
yeah, and just to reiterate, our role is to manage that tobacco tax, and it's not a whole lot of money, we know. We rely on you guys internally to manage that, resource in a way that gets us the best fire coverage. We don't have any authority to do that. That authority plays solely with the association and the forestry, state forestry. And so we would entertain any kind of change to that you guys thought would get us better coverage, and so.
Well, on that, we have looked at the tobacco tax bill that's currently in place, and we've got a question on that while I'm here. There's a term there about substitute products, when it's talking about tobacco and snuff, and it's talking about substitutes. We want to get clarification if that's something we should be collecting on already, or are we collecting on it? We don't know. And we're talking about Zen, you know, all your alternatives, your vapes, all this type of stuff. It's not necessarily tobacco, but it's replacing those items. So it is, over the years since these items have come out, you know, our tobacco taxes have not went up, it's went down, really.
So Chief Coggins, when he brought this up, that's why Commissioner Johnson had the copy of the bill put before everybody and highlighted where Chief Coggins is discussing. But let us take that one. That's obviously not one we can answer tonight, but it's a valid question, and we'll kind of go back and see how other counties have taken and consult Mr. Allen and how we might can get that question answered.
Okay.
What the state's doing.
Yeah, we would appreciate that.
And just, I know, from Commissioner Bale, I'd like to just say this, just because I know this is new. So I know some of these fees that he's talking about seem, I mean, I don't want to use the word petty, they're small, but when they brought this up at the last meeting, he's talking about needing help with the $500 a month user fee. Their checks today are in the high $700, maybe $800 a month. So when they're trying to run each of the departments off you, I'm saying something that doesn't seem like a lot, it's really a hard deal. And when we started asking those questions, some of the older, longer serving volunteers in some of these departments said, you know, man, 10 years ago our checks were $2,100 a month, and now they're $780 or $800, and that's why some of this stuff is pinching on them so much more.
So remind us, because as part of our financial package that was in our box, everybody should have it. Remind us what how the departments plus the association. We divide this up 9 ways,
8 ways, I believe.
8 ways. So 7
Fire
departments.
and Water Association, they don't take any money from this, so that's how they are funded.
So the association, how does that factor into it? So for instance, in October, we got a little over $10,000 in the tobacco tax fund that would be given out.
So, yes, it will be divided equally, I guess, between the 8 departments. And then I believe we have had it set up here recently for the $600 a month of that would go back to the association for the association costs we have with maintaining towers.
And that $600 is made up 8 ways, because 8 people.
Yes, that $600 comes from all 8 departments chipping in equal amount to let the association keep that $600. And that's done with the commission, they did that out.
So, for instance, an example would be in October, there's a 1% fee that we keep, that we've been keeping in a fund, and then $600 off the top of that, and then divide that by 8, and that's the check.
Correct, yeah, there you go, it's a better way to explain it, thank you.
Then November, the collected tobacco tax dropped to $7,312. So that's all that's on this financial report. And it's pretty up and down like that throughout
Yeah,
the
it
year.
does vary, I don't know, but it does. And just to give y'all, for instance, like, I know with Mixville, we'll have anywhere from $400 to $500, $550 a month in fuel costs. So when you're getting $700, $800, even $1,000, it's hard, and that's just one thing. You know, we got old truck, there's so many other things, but the money does not cover all of the bills actually. So we're having to do fundraisers and still cut costs.
I know we got to move on, but I want Andrew to take a second. I'd like you to bring up what you asked me about the medical response vehicle the next time we surplus something.
Yes.
I think this would be an excellent time.
So, on that as well, I know Mixville, and there's other departments interested in it as well. We have a medical vehicle, it's a 2008, got 310,000, I think on it now. Needs all kinds of work. It would probably take over $3,000 worth of work to it, and the truck probably not even worth that. So, what my question was, I have read in some of the laws and attorney general statements and our opinions and stuff where any government agency can donate to a volunteer fire department. So we're looking at trying to find out if the sheriff's department can donate old Tahoes that have getting replaced.
Didn't you say they sold some at the auction?
They
There's
have.
been some we've surplus and they sold it like the Cattleman's auction. And he asked me like, hey, if it gets to that point, you know, could that be something we try to work with them on? So
And-
he said to come back about something like that.
You know, and I was asking at that time for Mixville, and I think I've talked with a few of y'all about that, personally, but down the road, I would love to see, as association president, I would love to see, if possible, that we put in some type of plan, where, you know, every time sheriff's department or whatever agency gets some new vehicles, that maybe 2 of those vehicles that's being replaced will kind of rotate out throughout the different county volunteer fire departments, so that everyone would benefit. So that way, if you did 2 a year surplus to a volunteer fire agency, you're looking at every 4 years, they would probably get or I don't know how often they replace vehicles with the sheriff's department, but if it was every year, of course, that's the way it would be. So that's just something for you to think about, and that would greatly help us. You know, I know it would help Mixville, and I think it would help any other department as well out there.
All right, any other questions for Chief Coggins? All right,
We appreciate it.
we'll take
Thanks
this
for
up
your
in
consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But hey, and again, please thank all your members for what they do for our community.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Engineers.
And I'd like to say this as well, the volunteer, fire departments are a huge help to us in storms, trees falling down. There are a lot of times that we get calls and we can get there and some of his guys or some of the other departments have already made it there. There's trees that fall that we never even hear about sometimes, and they'll get paid before we do sometimes. So they're a huge help to us. I mean, on a weekly basis when we have things like that happen. But, I mean, there'll be trees that come down we never even hear about. And they'll have gotten a call from somebody they know or even got paged out and they've taken care of it before we even roll. So that's been a big help for us.
We try to handle it before, if it's not too big, we try to handle it before you even get called out there.
And it is a huge help. It absolutely is. I mean, we as a community, we benefit greatly, even from that service. So I want to tell you thank you.
Thank you.
is item number one in my new business. This is what we spent in 2024. There's up in the top of it, you'll see the first item are, payments that we make on the loans, we took out in 2019, 2020. And then items 2 and 3, I believe we're finishing off projects from 2023, the last little bit to finish those. And then so you get down to items 4, 5, and 7, and those were projects from this year. And this is the monies we spent on those. And at the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see the remaining balance that was at the end of 2024, but adds to our 2025 available money.
It's $175,000.
Yes, sir. This last year, we actually had a really good, tax income off of that. It was actually higher last year, like $90,000 higher than it was the year before, and the year before that. So we had a really good year last year. I don't know what that was due to. And don't know if that's gonna be an every year, we do that well. But you'll see up in the top right-hand corner, under CRAF amounts, the first line is what we rolled over from the year before, and then that was the income and tax that year, which was really good, which contributed to us having a larger rollover balance this year, because we don't know what we're gonna have until it comes in. So, of course, all that rolled into this 2025 year amount available we had for researching. But that's item number one. I don't know if you have any questions.
So, one quick one, you said it, and I think it went right over my head. Did you say we need to get this done tonight?
Yeah, we just have to have it in the minutes, it just has to be recorded,
Okay.
that we presented it, and it was presented, I guess, publicly, and in the commission minutes. And then posted on the website as well.
Cool.
But that's all, there's no real business, that has to be taken on it. Item number 2, I do have to ask, we need to rebid our annual turf and brush spray. We bid this out in September and didn't get any bids. Even our normal contractor who's been doing it every year, from what I understand, they actually just somehow missed it, and it got set on the desk somewhere, and then he tried to email it to me today, which is not legal, so I couldn't accept his bid. So we did not get a bid on this item. So I'm asking to rebid this, and I apologize, I didn't get this in our December meeting. It slipped past me until I realized, oh God, we gotta get moving on this, because our first spray for winter, our turf spray for winter, is usually the first or second week of February. And I need to advertise for 3 weeks on this item. So I would like to request that if the commission could suspend the rules and vote to allow me to bid this item, to go ahead and advertise for bids and open bids on this item.
Okay.
And it was in our budget. All the funds were budgeted out, we just didn't get a contractor to bid. Next thing, I believe I emailed you all, or everyone this, prior to, but I brought it up, and I would like to rotate out, motor graders out of next year's budget. I know this is a long way in advance, and the only reason I need to discuss it probably in advance is it takes about 8 to 10 months, to get motor graders in. And he told me it was a little bit closer to 8 months right now. Last time I spoke with salesmen, but I would like to rotate out. Our 5-year warranty is up in March for the motor graders that we currently have. We've actually had several issues with them this year. I would say 75% of the year, we probably only were able to have 2 motor graders doing doing dirt road work, out of the three. Between resurfacing work, having to do the short order on those, and repairs. This year they have spent a pretty good bit of time. It seems like every time I get one motor grader back from the Cat dealership, I'm having to send another one, for an item that we can't fix. So we've gotten to where we spend a lot of time with these at the dealership. So I think it's getting, to the point that I really would like to rotate out motor graders in October if possible. You know, get them in the September sale and have our new ones, ready and deliver some at the end of September, October 1st. I'd really like to have them in next year's, budget for us somehow. We currently, I think we make a payment of about $105,000 to $106,000, every month every year on the graders that we have. Our last payment should be this April, on all three of these graders. But $105,000 to $106,000 is not going to replace, graders now. They've gone up, I believe when we purchased these graders, they were about $275,000 a piece. Right now, with everything that we bought on the others, plus one little item that actually is supposed to help them sell better, was a scare bar on the back. It's about $12,000 to $14,000. But the price on those machines now are $365. So I'd like to present that to y'all. At least get it, if you would discuss it. Let me tell you. But I would need to, if I order something, if you got a September sale and the next best sale is March again the next year. So,
We can discuss it, we're gonna run short on time in the work session, so.
okay, I understand. The only other thing is, you know, we discussed, I think at the last meeting, you had asked me about what we had decided on the resurfacing. And this is what I presented at the end of October. And this is where we had left it at these roads. If we need, of course, the first three are in the county transportation plan. And you'll have to, I think, agree to change those. But when we left it, the other two at the bottom were the ones we added with the additional $400,000, $435 that I added.
Now remind us where the additional money came from?
That was additional funds, y'all had set aside, I think maybe out of general fund, $400,000, and I had $35,000, I think, left over from researching this year.
Right.
The $1,016,000 is our CRA Act money.
So really nothing for us to do on this, this was just us
Yes, just
asking to
information
bring this
on,
back in front of us so everybody
yes.
got a chance to look over it.
I've got one thing that has came up, there's a rural logging efficiency grant that's came about, and I don't know if Russell, if you've heard anything about it.
I found out about it while you were gone, and I was listening, you give me a rundown.
And they had a webinar on today that I actually did get to make. Kyle sat through it for me, and I'll get to watch it, probably tomorrow or the next day, they'll send it to me. There's a 50-50 match up to $400,000 for, like bridge and culvert replacements, but they're to be tied to, logging routes, anything that would make it more efficient for logging trucks to get to, like Rex Lumber or something like that.
It's a low-weight bridge type?
Yes, it is. It's
So
tied to,
if people are driving 20 miles out of the way in the county because there's an underweight bridge, and you could show that, then you could get grant money to fix that.
yes, up to $400,000 on a 50-50 match. I'll have more information at the next meeting, because, like I said, I missed part of this.
Yeah, perfect.
Would you send me that webinar, please?
All right. Anything for the engineer? We'll probably have a bunch of questions for you, Vicky, since we
Thank
passed forward on.
Sorry I took so long.
Mr. Herb won't be here tonight, we can cover anything we talk to you about when we get to the administrative report. Mr. Allen, anything for us?
Well, my only question is down under the current business of precinct, moving the precincts. we're gonna be able to do all of those by a resolution, we don't have to go legislature, we've already done that on the voting center on Leadmore Road.
Done.
But I didn't know how soon, we're not, I'm guessing there's not a time issue here, but if everybody knows where you're gonna move it, if you've had a chance to find out who will allow it, which may not. The only one I know of is, the church out on Leadmore Road, is gonna let that one move.
I'll make a comment on one in my district during the regular meeting.
All I was gonna say is, when you find out who's gonna let you come to their place, their property, we're gonna need to put a building on it, or will there be a facility? Then I'll need to do a resolution, we'll do a lease, as we do for each landowner, and, a one-year lease that rolls over. And insurance, Mackenzie's already confirmed, she's already talked to Withington's group, they'll cover any of those buildings like we have in China Grove. So I'm just, haven't seen those, I just want to mention that. I'm sure y'all have to make a few phone calls and go see people and ask and beg or whatever you gotta do, but,
Usually,
but we could get all that done, and like I said, I don't know, unless y'all know, I don't know of a reason why there's a time of the essence problem.
In reference to the voting records.
yeah, so we put them all under one thing, but obviously we all know we can handle them one at a time, right? We put them on here just as a, let's don't forget them.
Right.
And so as they come up, we can act on them.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Jordan, on one of mine, on the, precinct 528, it's Dunn Voting Center, it's not, we changed that from Dunn's, it's Neagle. So that needs to be changed, if we change that name. Neagle to Neagle Voting Center.
All right, anything else, Mr. Al?
No, not that I know of. I still don't have a question or something.
I don't think so, not yet. What we'll probably do, let's just run down through everything real quick, if you don't mind. We won't get into detail, but, kind of things you need us to act on, Jordan, because we're gonna have a few minutes, and then we'll pick up details when needed.
The first thing I have under administrator's report, if you can all add the DataWorks Plus contract, this is something that Kelly emailed to me this morning, and she asked that we would suspend the rules and go ahead and vote on it, because it is something that will run through the end of 2024 through September 30th, 2025. This is something we do annually for their fingerprint machine. The next thing I have under current business is the residential solid waste exemption process.
Yeah, we'll go into detail in the meeting,
Okay.
but that's the proposal that's in front of you guys.
Okay. And then the financial statement preparation contract, this is also included in your agenda package. And then if y'all wanted to do anything with the Volunteer Fire Association, that's all I have.
Anything that anybody wants to ask Jordan before we,
Yes, what do you want to get us to the DataWorks Plus on here?
it's new business.
The new business,
Yes.
because we have a business. Thank you.
All right, well, we will, close the work session